Hey there, it's Steve from B&H Photo, and we're at NAB in 2015. I'm talking with Brian Valente of RedRock Micro. They've got a really cool new follow focus system, and Brian's going to tell us with us. Brian?
Hey Steve, good to see you here. NAB 2015.
Tell us something about this.
So this is the new HALO system. This is actually a lot more than a remote focus system. We've been working on this problem for about 5 years, and what we're trying to solve is an issue of control of focus. So as we get these great new cameras with big chips, fast lenses, we get this really shallow depth of field, and it's great as a tool to move people's attention with focus. But the technology and the skill set to manage that focus hasn't kept up with the cameras and the lenses. So that's what we're trying to solve here.
So we're not actually trying to put focus pullers out of business here.
No, and in fact, we're trying to solve the problem in a way where we recognize there's a whole lot of ways that people worry about focus, from individual operators or maybe enthusiasts who just say, look, handle all the focusing for me. I don't either have the manpower or the skill, all the way up to the most professional ACs who say, look, I absolutely know how to pull focus, but things are getting so high resolution and the depth of field is so low that I just need better tools on how to do this. And like most of us, we're somewhere in between. We want a combination of some automation and some manual capability.
What I like about this, one of the things I like about this is when you map that lens, it remembers it. You can pull it up later. You can do 20, 30, 40 lenses, and it remembers the lenses once you've mapped them.
Right, and in fact, maybe that's a great way to start talking about some of the interface points and sort of seeing what we can actually deliver for people who are pulling focus.
Okay, so I put on my lens, I'm at my checkout, I test it, I set it up, I calibrate the units of my lens, other lenses. Now we put this lens on, I don't have to do that again, it's been done.
Right, so we're talking about the lens setup. It's a one-time thing. Here we have an example. So this is our new remote focus interface. You see it's a combination of hardware and software. This is an Android tablet that's running inside of it. It's a beautiful interface. You know, I talk about this as our avatar product. It took 5 years to wait for technology to catch up to do these things. So graphic technology.
Really very pretty, and I like it. But over here we're seeing what the lens sees.
Right, so what you're seeing is a couple of controllers. We've got a zoom controller, an iris controller, so as I adjust this, it's actually moving things on the screen that we'll talk about in a second. I've got my focus wheel here, and as you were pointing out, in this interface, it's actually showing me the angle of view of the lens. That's going to become very important in a second when we start to actually focus on things.
Well, let's go, because we have our model standing there.
Great. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and enable this device here. It's called the HALO Explorer. And this is our scene mapping system. So this is the same technology that's used in autonomous cars for collision detection and avoidance. So there's no setup, we're not doing tags on anybody, anything like that. We turn it on and it's going to recognize what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and activate that. There we go.
There we go.
And what you're going to see is it recognizes two things on the screen. First of all, this is Larissa walking back and forth, and there's a dartboard in behind. So one of the things I can do is, in terms of just pulling focus, is I can actually move this.
And that expanding arc is representing my arc of focus.
Well, it's actually representing the depth of field, right?
Okay.
So the line is where I'm focused, and then as I close focus, the depth of field gets shallower, and you can visualize that.
So I don't know if we can see it, but there's a sort of bright arc, and then there's a less bright area, and that's our depth of field.
Right.
So I get to really visually see how much depth of field and if my subject's in it or not.
Right, so what's great is this is a great visualization tool to not only anticipate where the actor is going, but also to see how it's interacting with depth of field. And you can see here I'm sucking quite badly on the focus. I might actually open up the lens a little bit so that I can, stop
Close
it
down the lens
so that I can get a little more depth of field, and as I'm pulling focus, I'm more easily able to keep her in focus.
Now what if she walks out of frame?
So if she's walking out of frame, one of the things you see is she's still being tracked, because the HALO device is not depending on the camera and what it sees. It actually is, well, of course, now she's disappeared, but we're tracking something independently of the camera and the lens, and that's going to be important in just a moment when you see some of the other things we can do.
Well, I was going to ask, because this is great if I got one person, but once I get 2 or 3 people in there, it can't keep up, can it?
Oh, well, let's try it out. We're going to have Alex come in here, and you can see it recognizes people. So one of the great things about it is it doesn't get confused by light stands and podiums and other types of stuff. It recognizes what people are.
So I want to pull focus to Alex now.
So all we simply need to do, first of all, I'm going to show you an example from the last one. When I pull focus, I just simply move it. I happen to like the touchscreen interface, so what I can actually do is use my finger and drag between them, or just tap between them, and this is literally pulling focus. And I don't need to worry about where they are and measuring things out. I can visualize where they are, and it's something as simple as this now becomes a very sophisticated focus pull.
It's amazing, and we're going to wrap it up, but there's one more thing that you showed me, which is for those of us who are like, you know what, I don't want to worry about that. I just want one person in focus all the time. No matter where they go, I can do that with this?
Absolutely. So in the case of situations where we don't have the skill, the time, the manpower to actually pull focus ourselves, I can do what's called halo somebody. So when I tap on one of them, you see they've had this halo around them, and as she moves around, you can see the focus is tracking in real time. And what's cool about this is I can just touch somebody else and they're going to be tracked in terms of focus in real time as well. So managing focus,
amazing.
We don't have to worry about people hitting their marks, we don't have to worry about people moving around a little bit. In fact, actually, if I focus on Larissa and Alex is going to go out of frame, so we actually can't see him, I can focus on him, and as he walks into frame, he's going to walk into frame in focus.
Wow. Brian, this is amazing.
Great, thank you, we love it.
It looks like there's a lot that can be done with it. It doesn't lock you into one thing, so I'm really, really excited to see it happen.
Steve, thank you for stopping by and taking a look and asking about it.
Welcome, thanks for spending time with us, and thank you for watching.